me take this opportunity to welcome our senior most and youngest member, a mentor to many of us, a lifelong learner. There is so much we just learn from him, listening to him. And today he will be sharing a lot of his wisdom. Brigadier Sushil Bhasin, a transformational coach, master trainer, educator, author of 2 best-selling books. He's passionate about making a difference, loves achieving and contributing to outcome-focused results. His greatest happiness comes from making people's lives easier, happier, and more meaningful. What does he do? He empowers through transformational seminars, customized sessions, energized outbound programs, and insightful one-on-one coaching. His 2 books, the first one, Design Your Life, published in 2017, and the second one, The $1 Million Second, which was published by CNBC TV 18 in August 2019. He is a professional speaker, having been on the TEDx stage, also a keynote speaker, having spoken at the first national convention of the Professional Speakers Association of India, and serves as a board member at PSAI. He's addressed multiple large audiences, engaged them, inspired them with stories from his military background and the corporate experience which he has. He works with C-suite executives, human resource leaders, training managers to create powerful growth hacks for individual contributors, team leaders, and senior management. There is a lot I could say, but I'll leave it to him. The stage is all yours, Brigadier Sir. I have great pleasure in welcoming you to the stage. Unmute yourself, Brigadier Sir. Unmute yourself.
Thank you very much, Deepak. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to speak. And Deepak, thank you very much for informing me a lot about me that I didn't know.
Dixit, aaja.
What's the time? I didn't hear you.
5:04. 5:04.
It's very strange that since morning I've asked at least 10 people what's the time, and every time they're giving me different answers. I mean, can't we all get together to understand time? So sad. You know, once, and how much time do I have for this talk? How much time do I have? Deepak, how much time do I have?
30 minutes. 30.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank God you told me, because once I went for a talk to an IAS academy, and when I went there, I asked them, I said, how much time do I have? They said, sir, no problem, you take your time. I said, no, but you must have planned something. Give me some idea. How much time do you want me to take? He said, they looked around and then they said, okay, you can carry on. We don't have any problem. And then I started. And then I don't know what happened. Till one guy got up and said, sir, we do understand that we don't have a clock in the room, but we do have a calendar. Okay, Deepika said, if people don't understand your joke, doesn't matter. Okay, right. Now I'm going to be asking you one question. How many of you have in life managed that time well? Please raise hands if you have managed your time. How many of you have been able to complete your to-do lists? And before I tell you something about these to-do lists, I must tell you that a good audience and wonderful people like you are those who laugh even when they hear that joke for the second time. Because all my boot campers have heard this joke, and I'm sure others will still laugh with them and not say, oh, I heard it before. Okay, so how many of you make to-do lists? Please raise your hands. How many of you, please keep your hands raised if you manage to complete them every day? Most hands have come down. Most hands have come down. So statistics say that 83% people who make to-do lists never complete them. And I'm very sure that the remaining 13% tell lies. Ladies and gentlemen, time management is dead. Time management is dead. Digital disruption came and killed it. Long live entrepreneurship of time. Long live entrepreneurship of time, because management of time is dead. David Allen in 1940s came out with the idea, and he's the guru of time management. He's the one who started the concept of time management. And what his time management techniques and tools were based on was efficiency. Everything was done to be able to do your work faster, quicker, smarter, and save time to do more work. Then there were people like Eisenhower who created their matrix of urgency and importance, which all of you must have used sometimes. And all these tools were used again for efficiency. Nowhere did anyone cater for emotions or significance. That was not inbuilt into the system. Why do I say time management is dead? I say so because there was a time when I wrote a letter in Mumbai, and it took me at least 8 to 10 days for me to get a reply. And I had that much of time to prepare for whatever I was to do. I lived in a world which was more or less stable. There were changes, there were disruptions, but the speed of changes was quite manageable. And therefore, when I made my to-do lists and I made my priorities, I could stick to them. But today, when I'm all set to do something, I get a WhatsApp message and I'm expected to answer in 5 minutes. And when I am set for a very, very important meeting, I get a call from that CEO, and it happened with me, a CEO I was trying to contact for 1 year. And I finally got the secretary to that person say, "Sir, Mr. XYZ is available today at 3 p.m. If you can make it to BKC, you can meet him." There was no way that I had to tell another client to postpone that meeting and go there. How many of you face such situations? Time management would have been, if I could manage my time, means slow it down today, hasten it up tomorrow. Say I'll work for 23 hours today, I'll work for 25 hours tomorrow. Then it would have been managing time. But what we really do is we manage life. We manage our work. We don't manage time. Also, when we talk about management, we are talking of time management, which gives it a managerial look. And what is management to you? What is a person who does management? He goes by tools, he goes by SOPs. Okay. And today's digital disruption does not allow you SOPs. You face situations which you never knew the way they came up. They confront you without notice. And what do? You fire, you handle them, you cope up with them. To me, it gives me an analogy of the way I used to fire in the army. You took your weapon, you aimed, and you fired. You fired at a static target. You were standing on your 2 feet, or you were lying down, or you were in a kneeling position, but you were firm on the ground. Today, I see myself firing at moving targets while I'm walking also. And the way world is going, from my walking, it is becoming jogging. From jogging, it became running. And now when it comes to a pandemic situation like this, I found myself running. Very soon, I think I'll be sprinting and firing, sprinting and firing. Let me take you to this COVID story of mine. I joined a speakers management company called right selection. And I'm on that panel now. And I was talking to the owner, Gautam. It was on 10th of March that 3-4 of us as speakers met him, and we worked out a strategy up to June. 10th of March was Holi, and we had met at 4 o'clock. And on 12th of March, Gautam was to go to Dubai for a holiday because he belonged there and he had shifted to Mumbai only a year ago. So he said, when I come back from Dubai, let's do a second meeting. And by then, whatever we had set for ourselves, we'll do all those tasks and meet somewhere in the first week of April. But 2 days later, the flights to Dubai were cancelled. There was no lockdown or something, but companies had started announcing work from home. People are not moving out much. And, the environment was closely coming to something like lockdown. On 17th, I told him, I said, let's do a webinar. He said, I don't do webinars. I said, Gautam, what will you do? You are a speaker, manager company. All speaking gigs across the world are getting cancelled. And I don't know how long it lasts. And that time you couldn't really imagine much. But I said it could happen for a few months. In any case, your Marshall Goldsmith's assignment has been cancelled. And our Asia Professional Speakers has already said it'll be in August. So look at the time gap. So what will you do in that time? Let's do webinars. He said, I've never done one. I said, I've done some webinars. Let's do it this Sunday. He said, are you crazy? Sunday, 3 days left. And we don't have time to market and all. And I told him something which came very impulsively that time, but I think it became a powerful statement. I told him, Gautam, it won't be a perfect webinar, but it will be a timely webinar. Let's do it. He said, let's do it. So 2 speakers and he moderating, we announced a webinar on Friday. And on Saturday evening, Prime Minister Narendra Modi comes to our rescue and says, Janta curfew tomorrow. So we are the whole country sitting at home without any prior engagements, ready to listen to us. 350 registrations in 2 days. And then my Zoom account had only 100 capacity. At 11th, we had the meeting at 11:30, and at 9:30, Gautam told me, we have got so many registrations, can we take only 100 and leave the rest? I said, no way. I went to Zoom quickly, I upgraded my account, paid $50 and took the 500 people's add-on, and we had 150 people who could join us. Rest kept telling us in emails later that we could log in, we could join in, and we send them our recordings. And I don't have the count, but I think our recordings and our, I had given some, I talked about something which I'll also give you in the end, a home management system which I'd made on an Excel sheet, and I gave them. We got a very good database. We got connected, and that was the beginning of COVID. Before that very evening, I remember talking to my wife and saying, I never saw the entire world conscious about the value of time like this before in my lifetime. When you're talking of flattening of the curve, that is a race against time, that you want to cure people before they spread the virus. And you are talking about that dotted line, which is your capacity. So what are you doing? You're juggling between in capacity, treating people quickly, and by social distancing, bringing down the spreading of the virus. This is such a race against time. And I found myself racing against time. And I said to myself, you needed a lot of time to do a lot of work that was pending. There's never going to be time like this again. And I quickly got down and revised my goals. My July, already 4 of my very important training assignments and 2 speaking assignments had just been cancelled. And I said, I have to work out of it. I did 30 webinars free in the month of April, May, but March, April. And in the month of April middle, I got a jewelry company to say, can you do a team building webinar for me? And I did a webinar which is totally different from any webinars that you see, where we played games, we went to breakout rooms, we did discussions, we went on a virtual whiteboard and made them write sticky notes. And they got so impressed and they got so happy that I got 12 programs from them in one series. I only charged 400 rupees per head per session of 2 hours, but accumulatively in 3 weeks time, I had a billing of 2.1 lakhs. This was my time importance that I realized. And from that day till now, it's about 65 days, I spend more than 16 hours sitting on this table every day. And I'm only 69 years young. Okay. Now, if I can just, I forgot to notice the time because I had to add humor. So I forgot the time part. Deepak, can you just tell me how much time I've left so I can then manage the rest of it according to that?
We have another 12 minutes to go, Brigadier Sir.
Great. So 12 minutes, 5 tips. Okay. So I have got about 12 time management tips, and I thought I'll cover 5 today, which are very apt for the COVID-19 situation. And one of the very inspiring things, one of the best things that happened during COVID was Sam's first masterclass. Soon after, and I tell you, that was one of the brilliant ones. I've heard it 5 times. And I've got all his slides and I've used them every time in my workshops. I talk about him. He was that one who talked about the upswing. He talked about bouncing forward and things like that. And I am applying each one of those things. He said, when the going gets tough, the tough go online shopping. I cut out the shopping. I didn't one out word. And I said, when the going gets tough, the tough goes online, and I made it tough goes virtual, because online and virtual are different. And I saw the distinction between online courses and virtual. And Sam made a mention, online courses will not sell, online programs will. And I've already got a program going. I think Harsha is one of my students of that program in this gathering today. We have already got a program going called Hive, which is high impact virtual engagement. Right. So everything that Sam said, look at the need of people. The need of trainers has changed today. They need to make their webinars interesting, and I've got a solution for them. And I've learned it and taught it within these days. In 21 days, I've already written 1 book, which is the 3rd book which I've co-authored, and I'm already into another book which will be written by 30th of June. And I have already got 1 article ready for the Speakers Tribe ebook, because I was late in submission. So I was told, if we need it, we'll tell you. You tell me you need it, I'll give it to you the next minute. So I'm ready with that. That is called contingency planning. So now let me talk about 5 tips of time management or time investment. So I say it's time investment strategies that I talk about. The first one I'm talking about is my favorite, hourly worth. What is your hourly worth? Has any one of you ever calculated your hourly worth? Now, your hourly worth, to my mind, is not in any terms, it is subjective. How happy, when I spend an hour and I don't spend, I invest. I like to invest my time and not spend my time. Your subconscious mind is very, very sensitive to the words you use. When you say spend, it goes to expense. Like our expert Deepak will tell you, expense means it's diminishing to 0, it's gone. When you invest, you get a return. So I'm looking at investment of time. And when I invest time in something, I want to know, what did I get out of it? And what you get out of it is actually your subjective happiness, your achievement, your whatever you say, but something that gives you pleasure, excitement, happiness. Now, because we don't understand that and there's no unit to it, we compare it with currency, because that is easily measurable. So what I say is, and this is taken from Brian Tracy. You measure or you write your income of the year divided by the number of hours you work in a year. And that becomes your hourly worth. Will some of you like to please calculate it and put it in the chat box? Your yearly income or your desired yearly. So what I normally do is see your yearly income divided by the number of hours you work, and that becomes your hourly worth. Put it in the chat box. Then you make your goals and say, I want to double it or I want to 1.5x it. And what you do is, a good goal that you can set for yourself is, I'll double my hourly worth by decreasing the number of hours I work every day. That's something great that you can do. My second connected point with that is something which I have to say sorry and beg pardon from Deepak Kepmani, because all the time he talks to us of ROI. And I go and insert one stupid T in that and say it is return on time invested. ROI is all what we know is return on a financial return on a financial investment. But ROTI is a return on the time invested. And we must learn from this. And there's more details, but I'll just leave it at that. ROTI is something that you must be aware of in everything that you do. Now, there is something that you would have never heard because it's not yet entered Google. And that's my term called surf the time wave. I call it surfing the time wave. That's my third tip. Surfing the time wave is that you identify which is your prime time. What is a prime time? Prime time is when you are at your best to receive. For some people, it's early morning. For some people, it's late night. Call it your prime time. And then when you work for it for 2-3 hours, your energy starts falling down a little. And that's the time you take a break. And I call it the downswing. Now your energy is coming down. So you take a break, take a cup of coffee, smoke, whatever energizes you, do a big power move and move on, get a little more energy and start. Then by say lunchtime and all, you're getting very drowsy. So that's called a trough, when your energy has gone down into a trough. That's the time you have your lunch, have a longer break, do anything that eases you out, listen to music, watch your TV show, whatever, and then start your work again. Now this is called your time wave, which you must surf, means you control it, don't get suppressed by it. So that is surfing the time wave. The next point I want to talk about is compounding of time. What is compounding of time? Now again, Deepak will say, don't take my terms away, but they are very important. And I told Deepak, actually, there's a lot of relationship between what you do and what I do. We are talking of investment. We are talking of returns. Your target is currency. My target is time. That's it. And then everything else is common, right? So compounding of time is, I have asked many corporates, in a corporate workshop, I have asked CEOs and senior leaders, how many hours are you committed to your company for in a day? And can somebody put in the chat box, what would be your answer, or you imagine what a CEO would be saying, how much time is he responsible to the company for in a day? Please put it in the chat box. I want to quickly see. And my time is running, time is money. 24 hours, okay? 24 hours means I'm not sleeping, I'm not doing anything. 18 hours, okay? Okay. Well, these are some of your answers. I've not got even a single CEO or single business head ever give me the right answer. And the answer is 8,000 hours. Are you not responsible for the time of every person in your company? When you hired people, you actually paid for their 8 hours a day. And if they are not giving you your full production, you are really speaking not doing justice to your company. And I have started telling companies, I will double your turnover if you take my consultancy by zero investment with the same people and with the same amount of infrastructure you have, just by making every person more productive. Just make the top leaders productive. They will make the remaining people productive, and you'll see the compounding effect. So this is what I'm talking about on the compounding of time. And the last point I want to talk to you about today is entrepreneurship of time. Let's forget about management of time and long live entrepreneurship of time. What is entrepreneurship? Entrepreneurship is any entrepreneur. What does he does? What does he do? He takes the least amount of resources and converts them into high volume of output. Is that right? You can manage to work out your life in a manner that you put in the least amount of time to bring in the highest amount of output. That is entrepreneurship of time. Let's work our techniques around that and make entrepreneurship of time a great value for us. So if all of you from today onwards start looking at entrepreneurship of time, I think your outlook to life will change. And if it improves, just give me a hi on social media and I'll be very happy to hear that. Thank you.